For tonight's agenda, I would ask that we amend the agenda with a new, which is on a separate sheet of paper on your in your group of papers, which is titled Special Meetings. And then we renumber public comment number 17 and adjournment number 8. Yeah, good. Thanks so much.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we'll go to public comment. Earl?
Public comment. Date to the Summer Road farming is, you have the opening of the 31st, December the 2nd, 2022. I suppose that it should be sometime in September. The planting season for wheat is somewhere between September 15th and
Okay,
so the minute you open the bids after that date, you've lost that season.
all right, great, thank you. Appreciate that. So normally we do that on a Wednesday we've got to put this out. Got to get something in the paper to accept bids. So how is October 5th soon enough?
That's close, that's tight.
All right, how about September 28th?
That works.
That works, all right.
You also don't have listed the method of payment, whether it's a yearly payment or a 5-year payment.
Well, we could do probably an annual payment. That would be easier for us on a budgetary thing. And then if one party backed out of it, it would give the opportunity so we can say an annual payment. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. We'll move on from public comment to communications. Andy?
I've been busy getting our road work done. Didn't have to come out for the insurance check on all the buildings.
I'm sorry.
We had Perma come out for.
Oh,
an insurance
Perma,
check. Same with you in August sometime after the last meeting anyways, and everything was good. There was a few minor things that have been handled. Other than that, just getting the road work handled.
It's mostly county work now, right?
Yeah, county work, some of it's in the town of Mendon, and some of it's outside. Sure, not too far, but yeah, a lot of county work and some prep work in Mendon on county roads to finish up yet. Sure.
Thank you. Michelle?
Been to a town clerk's meeting since we've been here. A lot of new information on open meetings law we talked about. And then I got the warrant for Pittsburgh school taxes. I did reach out to get Clam Falls today, so hopefully I'll have that one soon. And getting geared up for the first school tax season.
Yippee.
Are there any new things we should know about the open meetings law?
We do it pretty well. I think we handle everything the way we're supposed to.
Okay.
You know, there's a few things that I feel like is kind of a gray area that, you know, maybe we should put out there to, you know, decide on, but nothing stick right out that we're doing wrong or anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Shelley?
I have nothing.
Brent?
The planning board, as you know, Tom and I have switched for a little while. The planning board had a meeting on July 20th about a proposed subdivision. There's a few neighbors in there that voiced concerns for aesthetic water quality. They really wanted the planning board to exert support for extending water districts in that area. That was along Landing Road, if I'm not mistaken, which I think that the attorney let them know that that was kind of out of the planning board's jurisdiction. I caught up with the resident afterwards. I think it's very common to a lot of these discussions that we have about water. Constantly, frequently, he felt as though the town was not discussing it. I let him know that we talk about it at least once a month. Try to figure out where you could get money to extend water. We talked to Emily Plumos. We could, there was no magic pot of money that she identified that we were overlooking. There is another meeting coming up on this Wednesday. This is about a continuation of that subdivision over on Landing Road. Spray Park attended the construction progress meeting on August 9th. So far, they're pretty much, their progress is what they said it would be so far. They stripped the topsoil, laid out the control points, the building, did some foundation prep work. They poured the footings. The military memorial is had ready. So that's ready for the other contractor to come and start doing their work. At the time of that meeting, there was no issues that had come to light that's going to affect that substantial completion of November 2nd, 2022. They did doing their site prep. Maybe they came up against, they've got some large boulders. I don't know if that's something that you have it used for anywhere on your property.
Do they want us to remove, or we're just asking if we want to?
I'm just asking you, I saw them sitting there, and usually that's something that comes up towards the end. You know, where do you want us to put these boulders?
And maybe we could use them around there for cars not going, parking somewhere, even cars coming in or something, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll hang on to them and see. what-
Hang on to them, leave them on site, somewhere on site, don't
Yeah.
get rid of them.
Yeah. Maybe use them for something over there when they're done.
Okay. All right. In my opinion, so far, there's a pretty good communication with the contractor. There hasn't been any spirited meetings yet. You know, sometimes in construction get a little bit worked up. Business Association has a meeting tomorrow. I have to pencil in and see if I can make it if my schedule allows me, nothing pops up. Cindy and I met, talked about the comprehensive plan, identified some low-hanging fruit. Agreed some stuff that we help keep the comprehensive plan, those action items in motion. I don't know how often people have driven through the hamlet. The old Black Horse Bistro building is marked with as a train. It looks like they're doing model trains out of there. I have not seen them open yet. I'm trying to keep an eye, see if I can suck up their hours, go and talk to them. And somebody's cleaning up the old Chinese building.
They
That's
are.
great.
It looks
That's
great.
great. Yeah.
They cited it and everything.
And there is a sign in that train store now that says the train.
The
store.
train.
Yeah, it says the train store.
Yeah, I
I
see
didn't see
them.
any hours.
I didn't
Yeah,
even,
I see them there right now. Obviously, it's not open, yet, but I do see them there during the day when I just drive by. There's actually, they have either a truck or a van that has the train place on it.
Okay, which is, I could be mistaken, but I think that leaves everything we have activity in except for the local Memphis. Which is good to see in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Thanks, Brent. Move on, Karen?
Just that John and I are on the fire, what is that called?
Fire Protection Committee.
Committee, and we've had 3 meetings so far. Still gathering data from the various districts, and we're learning about what they have and what their numbers have been, and it's been very informative.
Sure. Oh, we're going to meetings with their scheduled.
I think till November, right? Every
What was
other
that?
week.
I'm sorry.
How many meetings till November? That's when the meetings are scheduled till November.
Oh, they're scheduled right through the first of the year.
Oh, is it the first of the year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
but it's
I
every
wanna
other
say it's
week,
like,
right?
the first of February
That's
or
what I
so.
thought it was, yes.
Now, you know, if the committee doesn't need that much time, it may end sooner. But right now, I echo what Karen said, it's been all fact finding and informational type thing. I think from what I've seen so far, I think we'll probably have, you know, information on number of firefighters available, the equipment, the age of the equipment, the indebtedness, the overall financial picture. And I
Yeah.
think that's when things will kind of start to gel. Thank you. Cindy?
Just a couple of things, as Brent said, we did meet about the, some stuff that we wanted to look into with regard to what was on the comprehensive plan that we thought we could maybe narrow things down, pick some things that would be a little bit easier than others to accomplish. And with regard to the library, Pat Washington did come in and take a look at their drinking fountain. And said he thought there was something he could do, and they had, at that point, not heard back from him. They're hoping they would hear back from him. They had their preliminary budget ready to go. They approved raising mileage for their employees who have to travel to different libraries from 59 cents to 62.5 cents to be in line with the federal mileage rate increase. And they changed their Friday hours for starting in September 9th, from 9 to 5, which would be 2 clerks with 2 extra hours.
What was the first thing you talked about? I'm sorry.
Comprehensive plan or the fountain?
Oh, the fountain, yeah. So where that is that we've got a couple of samples, so I'm gonna sit down with Lila and have them look over, you know, what they prefer. They look like they pretty much do the same thing to me. And they, at that point, will get the equipment ordered because Pat said he could probably do it this fall.
Good.
Tom?
There was no business before the ECB board, so they did not meet this month. It's been 2 meetings of the zoning board of appeals. Basically, the Fiore property on Pond Road encompassed both those meetings. It actually kind of straddled it. In front of the zoning board was a determination by Corey that it was not owner occupied. So they had a lot of neighbors. There was a lot of interest. Gave input, but basically what it was for is to determine whether it's owner occupied. It wasn't, I mean, there's people giving their input about the project, about a special use permit, but that really was not the time or the place, but the board did a great job of steering it back to what was before the zoning board. So final determination was the zoning board of appeals basically pushed it back to the planning board. So it can be, you can get a special, they can apply for a special use permit. What this letter from Corey did is it prevented them from doing that. So now they can do it. And they did come up with a determination because we do have, and if you remember a couple of years ago, a local law that we passed. So they had made a determination of what a primary residence is. And just a brief couple sentences. Here the ZBA concludes the amount of time an owner spends living in his or her home should be the primary factor in determining whether the home qualifies as owner's primary residence. So I mean, that kind of is the bullet point on it. So so on to the planning board, and there will be lots of interest at the planning board, especially when we get into special use permit. So
Great, thank you. Couple of things, let's see, appreciate everybody rescheduling for tonight. Sales tax, we've got sales tax from the county for the second quarter of 2022. We're up about $10,000, 2021. The People versus Coon is at the Mindentown Court tomorrow on the 16th of August. That is regarding the barn on West Bloomfield Road, just south of Cheese Factory, where we've had complaints for quite a while, pre-COVID. Now we're getting post-COVID complaints, and so they were cited by the code enforcement officer. I attended story time at the Mendon Public Library. Let's see. I sent information to everybody about the Association of Top Towns 2023 annual meeting. I already advertising for that. And the Arundequoit Creek, there's a flood study. I sent it to everybody. Hope I should have, I think Cindy, you responded. I should have told you, don't hit the print button, because I think it was like,
Very long.
Hundreds of
I didn't hit the print button.
but you know, the part that's in there about the Arundequoit Creek is interesting. So you know, if you can filter through some of the other stuff that's in there, just pay attention to the Arundequoit Creek and and how it affects the Hamlet amendment. Pretty interesting. I hazard mitigation meetings with the county are ongoing. Let's see, the jazz ensemble that has been using the community center on and off for practicing during the day. They have made us an offer to play at our choice of venue or time or whatever at any time in the future. If we'd like to have them, they would do a complimentary concert for us.
Nice.
So if something comes up and we want to pursue it, I think it would be the kind of thing we'd probably do it in conjunction with something else going on. And, you know, maybe Military Memorial, Spray Park, maybe we have a little concert too down there. I don't know, but keep that in mind. Let's see, summer rec is wrapped up. They moved out. Everything's back in the basement at the youth center. That everything went well with summer rec. And Sunday, the 28th, Mendon Foundation's having a race in the Hamlet. That's the one they do every year. It's real nice, and they do a nice job with it. So I certainly encourage anybody who wants to go down for that to stop down.
It was on August 28th.
Yes,
What time?
I probably have to send it to you.
Okay.
Pretty early in the morning. I started the race before, and I want to say it's like for a Sunday anyway, like 7:30, 8 o'clock, which seems kind of early for a Sunday to me. But they want to, of course, do it while it's still pretty cool out. We'll move on to monthly report, supervisor's monthly report.
Make the motion to acknowledge the receipt of the supervisor's monthly report for July 2022.
Second that.
Any discussion?
I have a question, John. Where it
Sure.
says, oh, never mind. I don't have a question. Never mind.
Everything looks good here. Continuing to monitor the DA fund, but that's, you know, a temporary problem until we receive more funding for work, county work
Right.
that's being done by the highway department. We've got a motion in a second, right? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Town clerk's monthly report.
Make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the town clerk's monthly report for July 2022. Showing receipts, disbursements, in the amount of $1,239.86.
I'll second.
It's embarrassing when that happens.
Any discussion? Seems to be a marriage license here with the last name Jenkins.
Yeah, there we go.
And it's official.
And it's official, all right. All in favor? Aye, any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the minutes from July 11th.
make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular town board meetings as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next are budget transfers and adjustments.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget transfer adjustments as delineated in our agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Pretty minimal for this time of year. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Vouchers?
Make a motion to approve all claims on vouchers number 22-516 to 22-588, my general abstract 22-08, in the amount of $449,989.38.
Second.
Any discussion? Several things on here regard, the larger expenses. Highway work and a payment to Whitney East for the spray park.
Now,
And notice there's also another payment for the sculpture
Yes,
that's going to the military memorial.
yes, you're absolutely correct.
Like you said, and there's that construction getting going, so.
Yep.
They'll see those things come.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
And also make note that library vouchers number 22-094 to 22-109 on library has grant 22-08 in the amount of $6,157.43 for conducted work.
Thank you. Number 11 is New York Glass. This is a liquid asset security.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
So previously, we have kept our reserve funds specifically in a savings account in a local bank. And Kelly was at a seminar recently where these people presented and came back with information. We contacted them. They gave us a list of municipalities in our area that have done business with them. And I contacted them. They all gave a glowing response with interest rates ticking up. I think it's in the town's best interest to receive as much interest on money that's in a reserve fund as possible. They, the lady, their representative came out and talked to us one day. And she is a former finance director for the town of Ogden. And I was pretty impressed with what they offer. The fact that it is the liquidity of the funds is immediate. So in other words, we don't have to give them 30 or 90 days notice if we're going to withdraw any money, that type of thing. So with, like I say, with interest rates ticking up, I think we've got an opportunity here to bring some revenue into the town.
Great idea. Now, what, on here it says that steps 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 3, we want to approve above document, you will receive confirmation that you've been accepted, then we just deposit the money.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. Yeah, once we, first thing is we need a board resolution. And then, I'll let her know it's in the works tomorrow and get a certified copy from Michelle. And then we'll be off to the races. This will probably take 2 to 4 weeks to get everything in place. But we'll get moving because she can do ACH transfers as well as wire transfers. So makes it relatively simple.
it's great. Thanks for that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next is ESP Consulting, Grant Services.
Make a motion to enter an agreement with ESP Consulting LLC for grant for clean energy communities designation programs certification. Not to exceed $2,000 for the grant application and one time $5,000 grant
Second.
for $1,000.
So we've had Emily here and we've talked to her and, you know, I've talked to some of you about that and quite frankly, it's a little more money than what we really wanted to put forth on the chance that we're gonna get a grant and this other grant here for the Clean Energy Community Designation is fairly accessible, and I think we've actually done enough things to qualify for the grant. So my thinking was that this is kind of like a little trial with her to see how this goes and see what she charges us. And then, you know, if this goes well and there's other opportunities, you know, we'll kind of pick and choose, I think. Brenda said.
Yeah, I think that's, per diem kind of thing instead of a retainage, I think.
Yeah.
It's most about for what we do here with grant services.
Right.
It seems to me, correct me if I'm wrong, that she said that having that certification is kind of like you need that in order to qualify for other grants.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a good thing to have.
So it may lead to some other things, but by the same token, she knows the business and, you know, I'm, when it comes to, for some of this grant writing and things like that, you need somebody with some expertise.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think it's wise to go this route.
We're just kind of putting our toes in the water.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye, any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the Mendon Youth Center reopening.
Motion to reopen in the youth center in September 2022. Authorize the supervisor to rehire or hire staff and provide any other services for reopening within the confines of the 2022 town of Mendon budget, including an open house for community members to visit with their families.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? So I think, you know, the director position is still kind of fluid right now, but I have talked to the people who did work and we've got a couple of people who are interested in coming back. I'll get an advertisement out and we'll start kind of bring, you know, because we've got to go through an interview process, background, that kind of thing. So it's going to take a good month to.
Right.
Do we have to do that for regards?
No, I'm talking about
Okay.
anybody.
Okay.
Anybody.
Okay.
I think there's probably 3 coming back out of, I think, 5 part-time people. That's the indication.
And are you thinking the same hours that we had?
Tom and I had just kind of discussed this fall, trying it Monday through Thursday, 2 to 6. Because we were doing it 3 days a week. There seemed to be confusion, you know, and this is kind of a little more pattern.
Good idea.
And then we'll see what happens. I mean, if there's some 1 day a week between September and December that, you know, attendance is low, well, then maybe we don't do that next year.
Hopefully with the September open, then we have more, because we open January, February before, but just in terms of foot traffic.
January, February, closed.
It was a solid 2 months. If you, just let me know if I can help you out with.
Yeah, maybe we can get together later this week.
Okay, that'd be great.
Let's see, Mendon Spray Park and Military.
Oh, wait,
Memorial.
we didn't
Oh,
vote on that.
oh, we didn't vote, I'm
Didn't,
sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Thank you. Next, we'll move on to Mendon Spray Park and Military Memorial for special testing.
I'll make a motion to expend not to exceed $9,848.60 for general and special testing Testing services by Caricon as a subcontractor, Bell Associates. Account number A7120.2, Drive by Field Equipment /
Second.
So this is a third party that basically tests the composition of the stone before they lay the concrete, tests the, I don't know, what do you call it, Brent? The concrete, like the,
Oh, they, the compression, they test the compressive strength of the concrete. They test the compaction of the stone underneath the concrete. They do rebar inspection. It really comes down to the concrete. Such an important part of the construction, especially for this. It's a 30 to 50 year thing, so we want to make sure that it's in good shape before it lays down. I think it's a very valuable investment on our total project.
How thick is the bed itself?
6 inches.
Just curious.
yeah, I mean, there's so much concrete in this project that this is something I think is very worthwhile. Plus, I remember when we did the library, the contractor brought in this stone, and when they went out to do the testing of the compaction before they poured the pad, it didn't meet the rate that I'm a novice at this, so whatever it is, and they had to remove it all, bring in all new material. So this is, I think this is a very important step.
Absolutely. You want to comment?
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Thank you. Next is Semmel Road Farming Lease. A couple of changes to that one. I would ask that the bids be opened on September 28th and that the payment be annual through the term of the lease.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? So that'll go out to bid. We'll get that bid out in the paper and receive the bids and open them up on September 28th. All in favor? Aye, any opposed? Thank you. New number 16 is for special meetings.
Make a motion to schedule special meetings for the town board Monday, August 22nd, and Monday, August 29th, 2022, for the purpose of considering a local law regarding a moratorium on short-term rentals.
I'll second.
So I sent this to everybody over the weekend, and it has been tweaked a little bit. I get some input from various individuals, including Katrina, who I call the English teacher. And so what we would be doing here is next Monday, we would have a meeting. We would decide if we want to pursue this, because by law, you have to have, as a town board member, you have to have this for 7 days prior to making any kind of a decision on whether you want to go forward or not. So on the 22nd, we would meet, you would decide if you wanted to go forward. If you do want to go forward, we would schedule a public hearing on the 29th. At the end of that public hearing, we could either decide not to do anything, or we could decide to adopt this moratorium or change it in some fashion. Any other discussion?
I think it's good to stay in front of it.
Yeah.
It seems to be the way local law.
And there is
Things are going.
there is a seminar at the end of September
September 28th.
on this very subject that I know I'm planning on. I can't remember if it's in person or not. I think it's in Canandaigua.
I think it is in person.
I think it is.
Yeah, I'm planning on attending it 28th day of September, because I really want to brush up on this, because as you can imagine, the municipalities around the Finger Lakes are dealing with this 10 times
Oh, yeah.
in what we have.
Is there an issue with more than, if there's a quorum there?
From our board,
Yeah, our board.
Sheldon, if we're at a seminar, more than one of us are at the same seminar, or more than, excuse me, 3 or more of us are at the same seminar, was we're not talking amongst ourselves.
It's not an issue.
It's not an issue, correct?
I'd be interested to see if I can fit that in schedule.
Sure. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Made a motion and seconded that one, sorry. Making a motion,
I think Cindy made the motion, I said.
thank you.
Back to public comment. Earl,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.